Hello, everyone. Hi. Please, if you can hear us, can you put something in the chat? Oh, yes. Oh, Greg. Greg, welcome. Hi, everyone. Just before beginning, oh, you have a new avatar, Greg. Cool. Just before beginning, we just received an email from Livestorm a few minutes ago to say that the platform currently has issues, problems. So maybe, I don't know, for the moment, everything is okay, but if there is a problem, maybe we will make this presentation again. So don't worry, you will receive an email with all the information. But that's it. So welcome, everyone. We are so happy to be with you today. And thank you for being connected. We are going to make a webinar about bare metal with Laurent, which is on
Hi, everyone.
my left. And just before beginning, I will make a short presentation. Laurent is making me a star. And just just a few words before begin. So we will make a short survey after all the webinar, and if you don't know Livestorm so much, so you have the chat on the right, and you have a few tabs on the right also, with the first tab, which is questions. So you can ask any question at any moment of the presentation. We will answer all the questions after the webinar, and there is also the tab pooled, and we will polls, and we will ask you some few survey to make, just to have an idea of your level of everything. So do not hesitate to check it out. So how are you today? Yeah, that's a good question. How are you today? Maybe Maxime, you can put a stamp for Greg, because Greg is our favorite, not favorite, but maybe you are the most invest man on our webinar. He didn't miss any of our webinars, so thank you so much for being here. And yes, I begin. I'm going to share my screen. Please tell me if it doesn't work. For the moment, everything is all right. Tell me, Laurent, if you see something wrong, or if you don't hear me, or...
No, we hear you correctly. Just the presentation is not loaded.
Yeah, it's currently... Is it okay for you?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So Scaleway, the cloud experience. The presentation is a bit short, so if you want any information about the product, or more precise information, do not hesitate to check our website, which is scaleway.com, at any moment. So who are we? We are the cloud branch of the group Iliad. We have, if you don't know Iliad so much, Iliad is the brand name for free, for example. But Scaleway, we are an European cloud services provider, yes, and we are pioneer of bare metal. We are the 9th cloud provider in the world, and we are the 2nd public cloud provider in Europe. Today, we are more than happy to have 2,050 collaborators. We have 2 main houses. We call that Les Maisons, with one in Paris, one in Lille. And of course, we are other collaborators that are working in our data centers. We have 5 data centers, 4 in Paris and area. And we have a huge presence in over 100 countries, and that's why we are making a lot of presentation in English. So Scaleway, we have 3 main activities between the brand. So we have Scaleway Datacenters with our private infrastructure. We have Scaleway Dedibox, which was the name, historical name was online. I don't know if you know it. Maybe Maxime can make a poll about that. It could be interesting. And Scaleway Elements, our public cloud ecosystem with all our bricks that make your project a reality. So just to go back about Scaleway Elements, which is all the ecosystem of the public cloud, we divided it into 6 main activities, which is compute with all the instances, for example, bare metal. Laurent will talk about that later, with the Kubernetes, with the container, for example. Storage, about all the bricks about storage, block storage, the cold storage also, or the databases. All the network with load balancer, domains, etc., IoT projects, and AI with the instances GPU, and all the tools that are useful for all the infrastructure for working well. And for the we have a lot of customers, and they are so different. So, for example, just to name a few, we have Le Bon Coin, Safran, Dailymotion, Adopt-un-Mec, and we are so proud of them because their needs are so different. For example, in the industry or the e-commerce, health, etc. So we are really glad to be part of their adventure. And that's it for the little presentation. Thank you so much for listening. You can follow us on the Twitter and social network pages. We also make a lot of events, so please stay tuned. And it's not because we are not making meetup in real life that we are not making webinars. So thank you so much for being here. And if you're ready, maybe, Laurent, I give the mic to you.
Yeah, thank you. Oh,
the message are slow. Okay, but everything is good. You can hear us, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Is it good for everybody?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Yeah, great. So welcome on this webinar. Thank you, Melody, to present the company. First of all, the webinar is for beginners and more to understand all products that we provide. And regarding the topics of today, we are going to speak about bare metal and how to manage your workloads. So don't hesitate to ask me a question or use the chat during the webinar. We have Maxime and all teams available to answer for all your questions. Here is the agenda. So we started with an introduction. Thank you, Melody, again. Then I'm going to present the cloud computing more in general for beginner. Then what is a peak workload? And after, I'm going to go deeper on different topics around what the different compute products. And then we are going to speak about several use cases. And to finish, we are going to speak about how to test your infrastructure. So let's go to the cloud computing. So if you don't know the cloud computing, and more the public cloud computing, we are a CSP. So Scaleway is a CSP, as IBM Cloud, as DigitalOcean, as OVH, as the AWS, etc., etc. So if you look the cloud computing, there is different models. So the historical one is based on on-premise infrastructure. So it's the case where when you have your own data center and you build your own cloud in your own data center or in your building. So that the historical cloud that we call also the private cloud. So then you have all other platforms. So you can see 3 columns with infrastructure as a service, so the IaaS, the platform as a service, PaaS, and the software as a service. And regarding the different products that we deploy and we provide for you is really the infrastructure and the platform one that you can find in Scaleway. So And yeah, I can add one more thing because we spoke about this one also. Scaleway provides through Scaleway Datacenter colocation. So it's a kind of on-premise infrastructure that you can use, and you can deploy and install directly your server in a rack, fully connected to the internet. So if we look after the models, the different models that you maybe know or maybe discover here, there is other topic that we can explain. So I explained that with the private cloud. The private cloud, it's when you do that in your own data center. Then the public cloud that we discussed just now. So the public cloud is when you take something as a service in from a CSP. And from several months and years, of course, now, there is so many topics and articles around the hybrid cloud. So hybrid cloud can be used for so many reasons. It can be to split your service in different locations. It can be for other reasons. So hybrid cloud is just a combination when you use, for example, private cloud, and it's not necessary to use private cloud, but to use several clouds. So you can use, for example, us and GCP, for example, or other one. So that's the three names to know, and it's important regarding the load that you're going to have on your platforms to split or to improve the design of your platforms. So after that, a peak workload, the topic of today. So what is a peak workload? When we speak about workload, the first thing that we are going to have, it's a feedback from a customer. And the customer say it's slow, or worse, it's down. So if your platform is completely down, it's too late. So the goal here is more to speak about how to anticipate and how to improve that. So if we speak just about the name workload, the workload is a service. The workload of the service is measured in terms of performance. Performance refers to a response time or an efficiency KPI. So response time, it's milliseconds. We'd like to say nanoseconds if it could be possible, but milliseconds that you have to get an answer from a service. And efficiency is really a KPI, so a metric to get something measurable to know if it's good or if it's not good. So, for example, the number of operations per second can be the number of sessions, can be several metrics depending of the technology that you use or the platform that you use, because when you know your platform, you know which metrics is important to track. So, if we look at the different workload profiles, so regarding a workload, the workload can be a workload, I would like to say classical. So the classical one is when you grow slowly and you anticipate without change. And the reality is not like that. The reality is sometimes there is a marketing operation or someone speak about you and you have a peak at this moment. And in other moment, you are in a situation that you can't anticipate. So here is 4 cases that we say that it's really important to be in the cloud, because it's not really possible to anticipate all these cases in your data center, in your on-premise infrastructure. So the first one is the on-off classical one. So on-off is when you need something and after you don't need it. So it can be for so many reasons. It can be when you need resources at the beginning of the month, just to test or to send bills to your customers. It can be to create a new model in AI, and you need resources at the moment. And when you run your model, you can do it during several hours and stop your resources. So this one is really useful because When you use it, when you deploy it, you pay for it. But when you stop it and you shut down the server and cancel the resources that you used just before, you don't pay. So at the end, it's really useful for this reason. The second one is more about a kind of profile that we have for a startup. Everyone, when we start a project, when we are in a company or when we deploy application, the goal is to grow. If there is a growth, there is more customers. So if there is more customers, it should be a good case for you and for your company. So the exponential and fast growth. And this situation is difficult to anticipate if you have to buy servers, receive the logistic part that you need to have, receive all packets, open the packets, rack these servers, add connections, etc., etc. If you calculate the timeline that you need to do all these actions, it will be several months. And even if you are a professional, it can be one month and a half. But if the exponential growth is exponential, you haven't anticipated the situation, there is an issue. The third case is more the situation that I explained just before with a marketing operation, not from your marketing teams. It can be, for example, because there is a topic and everybody wants to buy one product. You can imagine in our situation that we have now, some products are really tracked by everyone from everywhere. So at this moment, one provider can be completely out of resources for his website and have this kind of situation. So you need to have more workloads. So you need to have more resources and the cloud, and we can be here to provide you more resources to grow. The last one is a more classical one, but it's really useful for your bills at the end of the month, is a seasonal peak load. So for example, if you are a company and you sell toys for kids at the end of the year, of course, there is a peak at the end of the year. And at this moment, it can be useful to have more resources. And just after Christmas, you can shut down several servers and have a better bill at the end of January, for example. So when I explained that just before, the workload, the goal is not to wait until the end, until the downtime. So the goal is to track your workload. So why do we need to track your workload? The performance of your services relies on the analysis of your platform, thanks to the monitoring solutions, performance log and event. So yeah, when you need to track your workload, you need to measure, you need to get these metrics. And all monitoring solutions, I'm not here to present several topics, several solutions here, but as maybe you know, or just check all different monitoring solutions. Monitoring solutions is really the tool that you need to collect and to bring to you and maybe to other teams the good metrics, the good KPI to track your platform. The analysis corresponds to the third stage of the continuous improvement model of the service quality. So yeah, if you look the diagram that you have on the right on this slide, the first step is when you plan to do something, when you prepare. For example, if you create a new website or you build a new platform, the first step is you take a paper or you open a new file and you say, okay, I want to do that. So you prepare something. Then you do. So you build maybe the first step. It can be a kind of proof of concept, and it's in production because it's too important to put your platform in production. And then you check. So we are in this step, in this stage. This stage is you check your platform, you monitor it to have all merger to decide and to do something. And the next step is to do. So to do, it's to act when you need to fix the platform, you need to improve it, and that's the first stage before to do something. Okay, so you re-prepare something. It can be to redeploy a new platform. It can be to redesign a platform. It can be to remove the past that you have in your company, and you don't want these legacy platforms. That's this continuous improvement model. So the benefits for that, okay, you don't want to have the downtime, but this work will provide you a predictive workload planning. We can call that capacity planning, and from that you can manage your budget. Of course, if you can anticipate and have the good metrics, you can say, okay, next year in my company we are going to grow with this budget of marketing, with this kind of action, with commercial to find more customers. You can add several percentage to evaluate and to anticipate your budget. So it's really important regarding the cost and that you could have in you can have in your company, because the cost can be when you pay the platform, but the other cost is when your platform is down, you don't provide the service, so you lost money, you lost you decrease the image that you have to the public. The last line is at the same time, when you do this action, you can redesign and you can build resilient platform and improve availability. Yeah, okay. When you evaluate that your platform is not enough to follow all workload that you have on your platform, you have to anticipate a downtime, because maybe you have to upgrade several softwares, and you need to shut down one server and switch to another one, etc., etc. So in this case, it's important also to anticipate for your budget also this kind of value. So before moving to the compute products, okay, there is just before we say that we have now KPI and metrics to anticipate several things. But yeah, to resolve it, to fix it, there is several solutions, many solutions, just five solutions, and it's just a sum up. So here you can add resources. So the first line is the issue that you should have one time in your life to know that it should be done differently. So here, when you add resources, it's, for example, there is a downtime because there is not enough space on your local drive. So the bad issue, but the issue that so many people have one time in his life. And so just at this moment, you add local drives. Of course, you delete several files sometimes, or it can be add resources as adding IPs. So just because you grow, you need to add several IPs on the same, because maybe the reputation of one IP or etc. So you add resources. That's the first line, a classical one, and without a real type, but it can be useful for the workload or just to provide a good service. So the second one is when you migrate your server. So if you look the type of this solution, we call that to scale up. So scale up, it's a solution when you migrate your server. It can be to so you come from one server and you go to you move to another one, and the new one can be with more resources. It's the classical one. It can be with less resources if you don't need to have this big server and you want to scale up. It's a scale down that you do to follow the load. This one is in several cases with a downtime. Because if there is only one server and you move to another one to have more resources, at one moment, if you will have a downtime. The third solution is to add resources. Okay, it's the same name as the first one, but it's different. So this one is when you scale out. So the scale out is the vertical cloud, so that we name also. The scale out is when you add you add servers with a load balancer, for example. So when you add a server, you add one node under a load balancer. For example, a front end for website, you add just one server, a third server, and the traffic is split and is sent to different servers that you have under your load balancer. The fourth solution is when you add nodes. So it's a scale out also, because you add resources vertically, but in this one you can have, for example, database cluster or Kafka, etc. And in this kind of resource that you add to your platform is always have more resources. Okay, it's there is always something like a load balancer or different nodes to keep a security for your data, etc., etc. That's the fourth solution. The last one is more the solution that I suggest, but in this case you need more time. So it's when you need to redesign your platform, or just maybe to go back to the previous slide, when you need to measure, you need to have you need to measure only one thing. It's the same thing when you are sick and you go to see your doctor, and the doctor or maybe more specialist need to do one thing to analyze and not to do several things at the same time. So if your server do several things at the same time, it's difficult to know if the issue is on the first application or on the second one. So here, the goal is to isolate application to manage more efficiently. So isolate application is, for example, you have only one server and you move two applications that you host on this one to two different servers. After that, you can merge. So, okay, this case is just a merger, but you have to think more. And here, that's something that people that they deploy a real platform from several years know. It's we call that a microservice. It's a kind of scale out also, but it's to think that the platform is not always an hardware and a compute resource, but think about it's a service. And if you look at the end, for example, on your server, there is, for example, SMTP to send message. So that's a service. And this service, there is customer that use this service. So there is customers that you, for example, for an application, you send a message to inform about there is a new bill in your console. And okay, there is this kind of customers, but there is your internal customers. But I would like to say your different internal services. So, for example, the SMTP will be used by the front end, but it can be used by a CMS, a CRM, different application that you have internally. So you think, okay, it's not an hardware, but it's a service. And from that, you split all your application and you design your architecture correctly to have really one service is designed maybe differently as another one because it's different, and the best performance will be done with this kind of architecture. For people that they don't know really the design with microservice, there is a good book to read during this situation that we have. And behind that, it's not only a microservice. Yeah, there is other topics. The management, it can be something important to do, because when you have a big company and there is a lot of people in the IT, you have to reorganize your enterprise to follow this organization microservice. But regarding the skills of people also, because if you deploy your platform with microservices, you have to think about automation, and maybe also about auto scaling, because if you design and you you do something to modern your platform, you have this needs automation. After that, you can scale up, scale down, and do the scale out automatically. You add a node, you remove the node regarding the resource. So it was a bit longer on this one, but that's the different options and how you have to design or redesign to improve the platform. So let's go to our different products and compute products. So the first one is not really the compute, is about data centers. So we are Scaleway, and in Scaleway we know the first stack that we have to provide a cloud service. So this first stack is data center. Data center is a place where you host all servers and you provide all resources, hardware resources, network resources in a good with a good service to have resilience if there is an issue, for example. So all of that is checked by different certification that you can see on this slide. And from the different data centers, we create the name called availability zone. So an availability zone is based on data center. So one availability zone is based on one or several data centers to provide a service, so a cloud service. So when we are going to speak about an instance, a bare metal, it's based on a data center behind that. So in Scaleway, currently, we have France with Paris data centers and Netherlands in Amsterdam. And in the several months, we are going to deploy a new one in Poland to provide more services. So, okay, we are in Europe, but our goal now is to carry on growing to the world, I would like to say. And during the next years, we are going to open new locations also to carry on providing the best services for our customers. So from that, just a quick picture, because everyone and it's a webinar for beginner. Here it's a picture of one room in our data center, one data center. It's called a corridor, and in this corridor you can see how much time we spend to have quality here. It's something that we have in our DNA in Scaleway to do something very finished, I would like to say. So with a good quality, and it's on all stacks, so it's done on in our data center also. So yeah, when you have the data center, I said, okay, there is the hardware that you have to connect and to connect to the internet. So okay, to do that, we use different telecom connection operators. And you can see here the 26 one that we use, including almost all the first tier. So the first tier, just to be quickly on this one, but when you speak about technology, for example, or maybe customers, etc., you have always sometimes an organization a process to split the different level. So the first tier is the main actors, the main companies that they provide telecom connections. So here you can see on these slides many of them to be ready to have a good connection to the world. Okay, we don't have data center in the US, for example, or in Asia, but with these operators, we have really good connection and a great latency to provide your service to our customers around the world. Yeah, a slide that you saw several minutes ago. This one is about Scaleway Elements. So the cloud ecosystem that we provide in Scaleway. So we say, okay, it's a bricks. We call that here elements. Elements as the fifth elements, the movie. We do that to simplify and to know which product you need in which case. Okay, because when you have your platform and you have to choose a technology, you don't need to have a training and to have so many sessions to know which product is a good one. So the first goal for us is to simplify and to write something simply. So here there is the compute, the storage, and the network. The third elements that you have on the top of this slide. With this one, you can build so many things. The compute, you will see instances, bare metal, Kubernetes, container registry, and new products in beta as serverless face, function as a service, and in case container as a service. In storage, you have object storage, block storage. You have also C14, the cold storage, the solution to archive your data. And there is also databases. Around network, there is anti-DDoS to secure this kind of attacks. The load balancers that we are going to speak just after. The VPC, so the private network, which is something in discovery stage. It's more than the discovery. It's in beta now. The domains product to have domain names, and coming soon several other products. With all of that, plus on the last line with tools, you can build your own platform simply. So under the tools, there is a console, API, CLI, Terraform, Cloud Init, SDK for Go, for Python, and new features also that our customer asked so many times and so useful to have multi-users, cloud projects to manage projects for your platform and for your internal services, for example, and monitoring. And the two last lines is because we decided to be specialized into technology also. It's IoT and AI. So from all of that, I'm going to speak more about bare metal. Because yeah, if you need really a lot of resources and the best resources and for many reasons, that's the product that you need. So here you can see on this slide bare metal instance, Kubernetes, so the capsule solution that we provide, and for the future, which is in private beta, the serverless. So here you can see firstly that the ranges. So we decided in Scaleway to simplify the presentation of our products with different ranges. You can see dev for developers. That's the cheaper service that we provide for each product. The GP for general purpose, which is I would like to say classical, but not classical. It's really for production, for professionals, so that it's a good balance between your different resources in your server. So if you think about memory, CPU, and drive, and maybe the network also, GP is a good balance for a lot of usage. Then we have GPU, which is a specific usage more for AI. And we have two ranges for high-end uses. So iCPU and iMemory. iCPU and iMemory. Okay, so these two ranges are for people that they need more CPU, so they need to process more workload on the CPU, or they need to have more memory to cache or to put more resource on the memory. But not only that, if you look the bare metal, there is a low-level access. If you take an instance, you don't have this low-level access. And for bare metal, you have all the dedicated hardware for you. There is no neighbors, there is no latency also, because we don't have an hypervisor, no stack with the virtualization that we deploy. All the server is here and just for you. It's simple, but it's really important regarding when we speak about workload. Sometimes, an instance, there is a limitation and you need to have a bare metal. Other providers, if you look AWS, if you look GCP, the big actors, big competitors, haven't deployed this kind of technology before us. And now some of them try to start this kind of product because they understand that our customers need to have this kind of product. So the bare metal, we do that for several years, and we are specialists in this kind of product. So this, otherwise, yeah, our other products are all products under the cloud brand. So Scaleway Elements are built on a pay-per-use basis. So you are billed per hour. So that's something important because it's not always the case, but for many of our products and for these products, you are billed per hour and with a capping. So every hours we collate and we measure the consumption that you do with your products, and when you have 500 hours per month, which is roughly the 20 days per day, you get at this moment. We stop the bill at this moment. So if you compare with other providers, you will have to pay 720 hours because it's for 30 days. So it's really an advantage that we decided to do with our products. And at the end of the month, you don't pay for 720 hours, but you pay for 500 hours. Other advantages that you have when you take a compute product in Scaleway, you have API, you have Terraform provider, and you have the scalability that you can do with the cloud. And one specific thing that we have in bare metal, which is something that we don't provide until now on instance, is the failover IP. So by default, we send you when you buy a bare metal, you have one IP, one public IP, and you can add a failover IP. So you can add 60 IPs to your server to split your different services, to do virtualization on this bare metal, to build your own virtualization platform. And it's not the case if you buy an instance. Until now, you can add only one IP per instance, and moreover, we can move the failover IP from one bare metal to another one. So you can automate this part and have an automation to move an IP to another one and to do scaling. The last thing, because we speak about workload, is about our load balancer. So we provide a load balancer as a service, and all these products are compatible with the load balancer. Yeah, so it's to confirm and to be completely clear. Yeah, when you buy a bare metal, it's 100 dedicated, no resource share. So if you buy a bare metal, you have all. So you have the hardware, and then you install the OS from an operating system that we provide, completely packaged, or you can install from your ISO image directly through the KVM over IP, your operating system or your hypervisor. So, and if you buy an instance, the instance will be only a square that you have on the top. So you with the OS, and you install the application that you want. But you can have neighbors on the other servers, and of course there is an hypervisor that we use. And from this situation, there is a over provisioning that we use, and it can be an impact regarding the latency that you want for your application. Yeah, so let's look the specs that we provide on the bare metal. I presented several of them, but okay, we speak about ranges, but which kind of hardware that we have on the bare metal. So let's look here. That's the table that everybody wants when we buy something. What the price? So okay, we have 7 references, 7 configurations with Intel and AMD processors, AMD APIC, good one with a lot of multi-threading possibility, and Xeon Gold for this moment. And we are going to add several references and in the next months. So yeah, stay tuned on these topics, because we are going to surprise several people about the future of bare metal that we provide, and we are going to improve during the next months. Yeah, there is under memory. You can see how many memories we have in these servers. The local drive that you have with a lot of NVMe. So NVMe is a local drive, SSD type, but really quick. There is more speed for the disk and more performance for so many usage. The bandwidth that we have here, and we are going to provide more bandwidth for the future references that we are going to deploy. And the price, of course, you have always the price per hour and the price per month. Looking that is so good, because if you look the price per hour and maybe the usage of one workload that you have in your company, you can use a great, if you look the HM BM1 XL, the top that we provide until now, is and you can have that for several hours and pay under 10 euros if you need that for 4 hours, for example. And the treatment that you need to do on your server can be so quicker than your previous infrastructure. So yeah, behind that we think about the CPU benchmark. So we benched our server, and you can see here from Git bench for score scores to compare different servers. So if you need more you need more power and so more frequency because your application is functional with a single core. Let's go on GPBM1S. But yeah, if your application is accept multi-core and multi-threading also, let's go to HC and HM, so high CPU and high memory ranges to deploy your platforms. Yeah, so to sum up and all this information, so bare metal is 100 dedicated hardware, no latency due to virtualization. It's a physical isolation. Yeah, when we provide a Kubernetes platform, we speak a lot about isolation, but it's always a logical isolation. It can be enough for so many usages, but for other reasons, for different, for regulation, for personal reason, for other reasons, you have a physical isolation here. So we don't have over provisioning, no neighbors on your servers, and ultra high performance regarding the two ranges that we don't have on other products. So the high CPU and the high performance. Moreover, billing per use or per hour, optional failure IP, provider Terraform, API flexibility that we have from the cloud and all in the same console, all with the same API, etc. And automated installation. If you just want to install Ubuntu 20, for example, LTS, you can get it in several during the, I think, tomorrow or maybe today on our console. And you have the KVM over IP to have an access, a direct access in case of issue, or just to install your OS from your ISO image. And yeah, we have an excellent team in our company. The assistance or support technical support that you know more under this name. With business and enterprise level, to have directly people, to have a cloud architect to help you to build your platform. I stop maybe several minutes here just to give you and maybe to check what I just said. There is different polls that you receive in the on the top of your screen if you go in the tab polls.
There are several answers already. Do you want to read them, or do you want any help?
No, I just suggest to everyone to check their knowledge at this step of the webinar. We are close to the end, but yeah, under this one, it can be useful to know which topic is not clear for everyone, and maybe to come back later during the Q&A about several topics at the same time. Yeah. So it's a bit clear. So yeah. So thank you for your answer. Don't hesitate to carry on clicking on these different polls to confirm your understanding of this webinar. Thank you. So if we move on, the last product that I want to present here is about load balancer. So a load balancer, for people that they don't know, a load balancer is an application on an hardware to move the traffic from one source to another one. So if you look a classical website, there is HTTP, HTTPS connections to your server. And if you want to say, okay, the first request go to the first server and the second one go to the second server, you have to deploy a service called load balancer. And we provide this load balancer as a service, fully installed, and that you can manage through the API or just through the console. There is different configuration, different references, and I want really to speak about the multi-cloud reference, which is called under the name LBGPL. This one is a reference to address multi-cloud platforms. So if I rephrase this sentence, you can connect the load balancer to your server in your data center. You can address GCP instances. You can address IBM Cloud. You can address all resources with a public IP. And you can configure it with all configuration or all features that we provide under this product. So for us, it's really the first step to regroup and to have a possibility to use all products from Scaleway under one product. So this one is useful, and we are going to use this one in different use cases that we are going to discuss. So yeah, there is one more question here in the poll. In the poll section for people that they want to answer, which Scaleway service allows load balancing between several public clouds? Yeah, the LBGPL. So yeah, for people that they want just to test it, it's less than €1 per day. Not per day. Per day it should be around €2, but just to poke or to test, to confirm that it's a good solution for you, don't hesitate to test it. It's a real good one. So some use cases, yeah, because okay, it's more. I explain more the product, a workload, but how we implement this kind of situation. So my first scale out, that's the first use case. The first phase is a classical one that I use several times from the beginning of this webinar, is you have only one server, one bare metal, and you install all on this server, and you have all on this server. So the problem is, as I explained, it's difficult to get good metrics to follow the load, because if there is too much load on this server, it's stuck. And you don't have all metrics to improve this platform. So you have, firstly, to split all services from this server. So yeah, from this server, we would like to split the, excuse me. On this bare metal, there is a lot of service, and just for this example, I just said that there is a front end with Nginx or an 8-page service, and you have a database, let's say a MySQL database installed there. So, and you want to distribute you want to split the front end and the back end, so the database, and you want to distribute, as we explained just before, on two front ends. So, firstly, I suggest to add a load balancer. Okay, it will be a downtime, and after that, it will be better to split the traffic. So yeah, you add a load balancer as a load balancer as a service, or if you want to deploy your personal one, take care of this one, no worries. And you connect after under the load balancer the bare metal. The third phase is you have to move the database. So okay, at this stage of your platform, you split the two main services, so the front end and the back end. It's so important because so many people start, and it's normal. It's a classical implementation. You install all on the same server, and after you are stuck. So the first thing is to split. So you move the front, the back end. It's important regarding the load, and it's important for the security yourself, because when you do that, you can accept only requests from the front end for SQL requests, for example. Then for the fourth phase, here we suggest to duplicate the web services. So here we are going to add a new bar method, and the load balancer send the traffic to your two different front ends. And these two front ends discussed and send their request to the database that you have under this server. So that's the first use case. And the second one is this one, which is not a small one regarding the situation that we have currently. We manage a part of the traffic for all Visio of the Ministry of Education in France. So here you can, I'm going to explain, but Maxime is going to share the information to follow a previous webinar that we have done. We did, sorry, and how to deploy Jitsi. Jitsi is an open source solution that we deployed to help people in France and all over the world to have a free Visio conference. So here in this diagram, users and maybe you are on the bottom of this slide. And when you go under your favorite web browser, you enter ensemble.scaleway.com, and here you have a website to create a room. Create a room to discuss with someone through a Visio conference with Jitsi. Here, when you create a room, there is a call from the API to discuss with Prometheus. Prometheus is a monitoring platform. And Prometheus know, because he collects information from different hardware, so from different instances, different bar monitor servers, he collects the CPU load of each instances, each bar monitor. And from that, when you create a room, we create a room in the server where there is less load, of course. So that's a classical, but here you can see from this example that you can create a platform to scale, and here you scale out. So you do the vertical cloud that everybody wants to follow the traffic. So we had resources, we shut down servers, and you have this flexibility that the cloud can provide, and that Scaleway provides. So the last topic before the Q&A is testing your infrastructure. Because, okay, before I explained that you need to monitor, you need to split your service, you need to do microservices to design your platform. But before having an issue, before having a downtime on your platform, or just to have a slowdown, you need to test. So the best, as everybody need to know and need to do, even if it's not always the case, you need to have a staging platform or maybe a pre-production platform to test. It's not good to test in production. So the good thing is to deploy your platform. So let's say that the black square that you have on the right is your platform. So you redeploy your platform outside of the production. You had the same monitoring that you use in production. It should be the same. It should be better regarding the fact that you are in pre-production, or even because you are in stage in staging. So, and here we are going to add new servers. And I suggest, because it's really good, I suggest to add bar metal servers to test your platform, because you are going to have all resources to test your platform. So you send a lot of workload, and it's it's a workload that you manage correctly without over-provisioning, without latency, etc. So here you are going to write different scenarios. In these scenarios, you can say, okay, you send 100 users, then 200 users, etc., etc. And you are going to send this request to your platform to follow your KPI, your latency, your different metrics that you have under your monitoring, and you add more and more resources. And at one moment, you are going to have an issue, a classical issue on one part of your platform, on one service, if you use the design of microservice, and you know that the bottleneck is here, and you can improve it. And then you carry on the continuous improvement process that we discussed just before. So yeah, thanks Maxime also to send the tutorial with Vegeta that we created. So yeah, you can use this one to implement Vegeta on your platform. We like also Gatling, which is a good solution, open source, to do this test. So that's all for me. For the webinar. Let's go to the Q&A.
Thanks a lot, Laurent, for all this information about bare metal. I think it's quite, it's quite wide. So, but there are questions. So I think the theme is interesting.